Hey internet, this is Will from the Will of Vlogging, and I haven't done a video in a while. It's like, what is it, March 29th that I'm recording this? I don't know when it's going to be uploaded, but whatever. Question is, why are you voting Republican? Normally this is not a good topic to talk about. Always stay away from religion and always stay from politics. But that's the reason why I made this channel. It's to make things that bother me, make things that excite me, so this is what I had to do this. And I've been prolonging this for the longest time. I have not said anything on account of the election. I've been keeping it very brief. Now I'm going to tell you who I'm voting for. And the reason why, if this person gets a nomination, this is the person who I'm voting for. And I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. If he gets a nomination, I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. 100%. This whole entire election is crazy. Like, it seems that not everybody is fit to become a president. A lot of people will say that Hillary Clinton is fit to be president due to the fact that she was married to a president. She's done a lot of things in the past. My problem with Hillary Clinton is that she can be bought. The thing is that her actions show at one point that she was a formidable opponent. That she would grab every guy in the rooms by the balls and be like, listen to me. I may not be president, but if I ever was president, yada, 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 yada. In the end, we all have to understand that the president really doesn't have a lot of power except to declare if we go to war. The power to pocket veto certain bills. And then all this, and then he has the executive order, which he can do the executive order, which I guess that means he can force something in. Now, I'm not a politician. I'm not. By any means am I no politician. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. You already made your mind up, and you should. But I'm just telling you a few things. Okay. My question is, why vote? Why are people out there voting Republican? First off, let me explain. Now, we have two candidates currently on the ballot at the time of this video. We have Ted Cruz, the evangelical Christian crazy man, and then we have Donald Trump, who's just the business crazy man. And we have then on the Democratic side, we have Hillary Clinton, a known liar and a person who can be bought. And we have Bernie Sanders, who has a long history with fighting for human rights. Okay? Done. Okay. Moving along. Let's move along. Look, at this point, our country has been so severely divided. I absolutely hate this year. I hate any election year. Anytime when there's a year where we have to vote for a president, I hate that year. Because you get so many different opinions, so many different backgrounds, so many different, and this is from both sides. I'm not talking about just Republicans are doing this. No, I like to be fair and like to just say all these other things. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay, now what worries me about the Republican side is that they're not talking about issues. They are not. They don't talk about issues. Now I'm gonna admit. Now, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they have talked on issues. But the Republican side was so big. There was like 12 people on a panel at one time that got reduced to 2. And Donald Trump was just... I don't know. Okay, let's go to Donald Trump. Let's start with Ted Cruz. Let's start with Ted Cruz. Okay, Ted Cruz is, for the most part, nice guy to certain people. Okay? Now, I don't like Ted Cruz. Not as a person, but as a politician. I can't say that I hate Ted Cruz due to the fact that I never met the guy. So I don't know how he is. But I know how he is to gay people. I know how he feels about certain things. But he don't answer questions. His actions to close down work and sacrifice all those people who work for the government, he shuts it down because Obama because of the Obamacare or healthcare or the Affordable Care Act? Really? Really? So you want a president that, let's say that we as the people don't like, if he became president, let's say we as the people don't like what he says, or we don't agree with what he says. Do you really want him to shut down the government and say, well, until you people decide to do this, then we're going to do... Really? And he did not do it once. He did it twice. And you really want something like that for president? Also, a person who only believes in his God. We live in the United States of America, buddy. Okay? We have people with different religions, different backgrounds, different beliefs, all this other stuff. You need to learn to live with it. If you are going to take a job in a government position where you're going to be working with the public, with different kinds of people, with different kinds of backgrounds, running a country that has different people with different beliefs, you need to know how to work with these people. You can't just go in with your own benefit and expecting that people are going to just sit back along and whatnot. To me, buddy, you lost in my book due to the fact that you are just so into your own ways. Sure, you shout freedom, religious liberty and whatnot, or liberty, I don't know. Whatever. You want to fight that. You want to repeal gay marriage and all this other stuff. You want to do all that stuff. For real? Ted Cruz? Buddy. Get out. Get out. The fact that you are Hispanic, the fact that you are just, you represent everything that is wrong. You are such a self-hating person, and I hate that so much about you. That's how you come across. You come across as that you hate yourself so much that you are trying to be this other person that you shouldn't be. Now let's talk about Donald Trump. I don't even know what to say about Donald Trump. To me, this man is a joke. Always has been a joke. Look, at this time, we live in the United States of America. Our First Amendment right is freedom of speech, right? It's always been in there. And we as an American people have the right to voice our opinions when we don't like something. But when you're running for the President of the United States, you are an American, yes, and you have those rights. My problem is that this country doesn't belong to nobody except for the Native Americans, who we stole from. I don't understand how he says he wants to build a wall around Mexico when originally, before this country was stolen by other people, the people who lived in this country were Mexican. You know, there were Mexicans who lived in this country. That was a big part. Now, I could be wrong with my history, but there were a lot of Native Americans in Mexico and here. And this was one gigantic piece of land. Canada was included in that. You know, all these different things. And then we took it over and destroyed it. And now we want to scream that this is my country, this is my country. There's just so much anger. And I hate to say that, I don't want to point out a specific race. But, you know, in, let's just say, Caucasian culture, there has been a lot of violence, a lot of deep-seated, rooted hate, a lot of pride. It's more, should I say, I don't think hate, but a lot of pride has gone into those people, you know. Oh God, my hand hurts. And it's just like they always want to be considered superior to others. And I understand that this generation has nothing to do with back then, but it's like there's some deep-seated, rooted thing that's in a lot of people, and it sucks. Now with Donald Trump grew up a privileged white male. Who got an inheritance from his father, who's also rich, was given a bunch of businesses and all this other stuff. This guy was a playboy. This guy could date models and things like that because they wanted him for his money, not for his looks. Donald Trump at one point used to be a Democrat that went Republican. At this point, Donald Trump is a joke. Everything that he's saying, he's only saying because he knows that it gets his name in the news. The fact that this man can not choose not to show up, but still get the number one nomination vote is beyond me. How are you going to stop a debate? Do you really want a man as a president who's gonna just not show up for certain events? If something like Katrina were to happen, or if something like September 11th were to happen to this country again, do you really want a president who just doesn't feel like dealing with that right now? No. At this point, all he says is bomb the shit out of them. He does not answer questions either. He just sits there and he just pussyfoots around the question. And that angers me. He doesn't talk. He's never been a politician. He's never been in politics. He claims that he has. He has supported a lot of politicians by giving them money, and it's ridiculous. I feel like the reason why he's technically got this far is because people owe him favors. They do owe him favors. He's paid money, and one of the ways that he can get them to pay back is to get this man to be president. Why you want to be president is beyond me. Why? I think he wants it for legacy purposes, to say that he's done something really, really great with his life. You know, he's a billionaire. He had some successful businesses, some not so successful, but overall he's a successful man. He has a beautiful wife, or to some people they find her beautiful. He has, he's done some things. Doesn't make the man smart though. You need to have smart. You need to be remembered. You don't want to be remembered for being hated. But I just feel like Donald Trump just wants to be remembered. Doesn't matter for what reason. Donald Trump had a good potential. But because he doesn't know what it's like to be poor or broke a day in his life, there's a problem. And that sucks. I don't want this man to be the president of the United States. He doesn't do anything for our country. He is never clear on anything. Now, I'm going to say, when you show up to a rally and you have people who are politely protesting, just going in there, but just because they're a different color, people just assume something. Now, I've never been to a Donald Trump rally in person, so I can't talk about what goes in there. It could just be over-exaggerated. It could just be something. We don't know. I don't know. And I'm going to admit that. I don't know. Maybe I could go in there and I'd be okay. But the way that the media portrays things sometimes can be a little over-exaggerated. But regardless, I don't like Trump. I don't. Because when somebody literally says the words, bomb the shit out of them, you lost all my respect. When you say build the wall and then Mexico is going to pay for it, and the president of Mexico himself says that we will not pay for the wall, we will not build it. When other countries say that if we vote for Donald Trump that we lose allies, there's a problem here. A huge problem. If a crisis like Flint happened, which it did, but let's say that it happened somewhere else, do you think Donald Trump will care? Probably not. Does Donald Trump know what it's like to be poor? Sorry, the majority of this country is not rich like Donald Trump. So he's only benefiting those who are rich. So why would any person who's not even in his tax bracket want to vote for him? He doesn't do anything for the country. A lot of people say, I like how he's not silenced and that he's no bullshit. He speaks bullshit. That's all that comes out of his mouth. If that's what you like, then that's what you like. But honestly, I'm done. Donald Trump needs to just go on somewhere. He needs to go back to his mansion or his little freaking his $50 million condo in the middle of New York or wherever he lives. He needs to go back there and he needs to really reevaluate life. When you are the president of the United States, you are the representative of the people. And you having a foul mouth ain't going to do anything. What I like about Obama is that he is a respectful president. Is he perfect? No man is. No man, no woman is perfect. Unfortunately, yes, he does have his flaws. There were issues in there. But when you have a whole entire place of the people of the party that opposes your party, and anything that you do, and they always shut it down because they don't think logically. People don't think logically. They only think for themselves. They only think for their own people. They don't even look outside the box. When a person, let's just put for an example, since I'm Hispanic, let me use my people as an example. A Hispanic person, right, could be a Hispanic person can be looking at his own. Okay, sorry. Let me try this again. A Hispanic person, right, will think about Hispanic issues, things that affect us Latinos in the country, right? So in Puerto Rico, the government isn't. We don't have a government pretty much anymore, and the United States technically has to take over. And the thing is that in Puerto Rico cannot vote for the president of the United States, but they can vote for everybody else. They can vote for senators. They can vote for everything, except for the president of the United States. But they do have delegates, and they can help with the nominations to get the presidents, to there. But their vote does not count because they're not a state. So, Hispanic people will only care about Hispanic issues. So if something like black rights were to come along, a lot of people would not be paying no mind. A lot of white people would not be paying no mind. A lot of Asian people would not be paying no mind. It would because it's that issue. Same thing with every other race. White, black, the minority won't care about white people problems. So the problem with our country is that we are so divided. We are so stuck in trying to find our own identities that we don't see each other as the human race. We are the human race. That is what we are. We are all one people. We all have blood in our veins. We all breathe the same air. We all sleep. We all do the same exact thing, and we always look at the right side. I mean, we always know the basics. There are good things and there are bad things. And then there are people out there who know what the bad things and good things are. But the only difference is that what you do with it. There are people that do bad things and there are people that do good things. It's just it. There are people that don't do anything. And that's it. We are not perfect by any means, and there's no need to differentiate ourselves. We need to look at each other as something. But of course, I'm talking about something that is incredibly unrealistic. Very unrealistic. So, moving on. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton for a second. Okay, Hillary Clinton. Look, she's a woman president. The reason why a lot of people want her is because of the fact that she is a woman. And then so a lot of people like to attack Bernie Sanders and say that he's anti-woman, or that if you vote for Bernie Sanders, you're anti-woman. That's not true. Okay, look. The problem with Hillary Clinton is it's not the fact that she's a woman. Honestly, I personally would love a woman president. And at one point I would have loved it to have been her. But her stance on gay marriage changed. She is a flip-flopper. 1 minute she'll be on this, and I understand you can't judge people based on their past because, people can grow and evolve over time. I get it. But you got to understand that people are going to be skeptical of that point. And she hasn't proven anything. When you have some emails to hide, there's a problem. When you are hiding something from the American people, you don't want to show people anything, because when you are running for president, and I personally believe all your dirt has to be on the table. You cannot have anything private because you are a risk to our country. You are affecting a whole country of people, and you need to be careful. So I feel like all your dirt needs to be put on the table. If you have nothing to hide, if you have nothing to be afraid of, because we understand as human beings, you make mistakes. You do make mistakes. But if you went to jail for some reason, I need to know why. I need to know. So if you have hidden emails, Miss Hillary Clinton, that show that you're doing treason, you're doing business deals, who is paying you your money, there's a problem. The problem is that she accepts money from big corporations. And we all know what big corporations do. Big corporations want her to do something that benefits them. So they pay her money. So when she becomes a president of the United States, she got to pay these people back. Now, at this point, Hillary Clinton is my second choice. I don't want anybody from the Republican side to take this. Because Hillary, I feel, even though there's issues with her, even though she is not a perfect president, even though she is not, I don't know. It's just, I can't. You're going to have to deal with people. If you get upset easily, you cannot do this job. I'm sorry. You need to be qualified to handle complaints from people. And I understand you as a human being, but you are taking on the hardest job in the country. You are literally the face of the country. You are part of history. You are an important figure to our country's history, which I don't even know why I keep calling it our country when it's not, but I'm just saying to the country that I was born in's history. And you need to be open with us. You need to not be afraid or anything. Okay? And last but not least, we have Bernie Sanders. Now, I really don't have anything negative to say about Bernie Sanders. A lot of people say he's a socialist. Okay, he's a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. A democratic socialist is basically a person who's for the people. And people look at that like that's a scary word, like socialist means communist or something. Like, that's not it. Basically, from what I understand, socialism is, and I could be wrong, but socialism is a thing. It's basically when the government is ruled more by the people than by the government. They tell people what to do. So when you look at countries like France, when you look at countries like Belgium, Japan, other places that have freedom like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Canada, these people, like, if you ever seen like a French thing, when France has something that people don't like, oh my God, those people get on the streets and they tell the government, you better change it, we don't like it, and all these things, and they get together. Now, a lot of people could say the reason why the United States fails so much is because there's too much of a thing. But like, it's like the UK. I look at the UK, right, and I see this, because a lot of people don't broaden their horizons. A lot of people that are, there's a lot of people that are sheltered, that only see America as certain things, like guns or something like that. They only see that. But people don't broaden their horizons, and they don't research other countries. They don't look at how they work. So a lot of people just like, no, they are so ignorant to the fact of what goes on in other countries, how politics work. They're like, it's not American. It's not American. So I don't get it. No wonder why the whole world hates us. We are literally a country of hate, fighting, bickering, killings. How is this not happening in other countries? It is ridiculous. There were so many people that say, regardless of your race, look at your history. Look at where you come from. Because it's not from this land, unless if you're Native American. But you have to look at your history, look at your roots. And if you don't know them, research it. Research what you are. I always say recommended. Always look at the what is it? Descendants? No. I don't remember. Look at the ancestors. Look at your ancestors. Now, be you. Be you and put your own stamp in this world. Do that. Now, me, I'm an atheist, of course, and I understand that all these politicians are all for God and all this other things and whatnot. And you know what? I gotta put up with it. Religion is part of this country, but it's not a Christian nation. It's not no damn Christian nation. If the majority of the people in this country are Christian, it is still not a Christian nation because there are people who are not Christian. Whenever America becomes Christian nation is when every single citizen in the country is a Christian, and that is not the case. Now, it may have at one point used to be a Christian nation, but it's not a Christian nation. At this point, we are given freedom of religion and we're given freedom of speech. The word freedom, to be free. And the Republican side doesn't seem to believe that. Like, they don't believe in freedom. They used to. Back in the day, it was the opposite. Democrats were the Republicans of today. They thought like people did today, like the Republicans think today. And the Republicans, liberal Republicans, were on technically the right side of history. I don't know why it flip-flopped, but it did. And I just don't understand this. What happened? Why do we have to go to war with people? Why do we have to be so angry? We have literally failed ourselves as a human nation. And honestly, we could say that it's karma coming back and biting us all in the ass because this is technically a stolen country. It probably is. No, it is. It is. And this is just karma coming back at us. Like, this land is, I guess you can call it, cursed. Which is why we can never have a decent thing. We could have all the riches and whatever that we want, but the happiness has to go with it. You know, like, you know, we don't get that. There have been plenty of times that I wish that I had the money. I wish I had the security and the stability and the drive to just want to move out of this country. I would love to live in Denmark. I would love to live in Canada. I would love to live in Japan. I would love to live in, you know, like one of those types of countries. Because it's so peaceful when I look at stuff. When I see how people do this stuff. Like, I want to move to progressive places, actually. Japan's not really progressive when it comes to LGBT issues. But still, regardless, it's just, everything is just better. It seems like everything's better somewhere else. Every time when I talk to somebody who travels, that travels anywhere, they say that it was beautiful there, that they love it, that they'd never wanted to come back. That pretty much says a lot. That pretty much says a lot. Anyways, guys, sorry for this long video. I feel like you guys deserved a long video because I haven't done a video in a while. And, you know, that feels so good to get off my chest. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders if he becomes president. And if he becomes a nominated Democratic nomination. And then I'll vote Hillary if she is the Democratic nomination. So I'm voting Democrat. That is always what it is. I just feel like the Democratic side is actually talking about issues, while the Republicans are talking about penises, hand sizes, Rosie O'Donnell, women, Mexican walls, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz maybe twice. I don't get it. You need to be able to look at both sides of the story. Anyways, I hope I didn't offend anybody out there, but I just had to say it. Anyways, peace out. Bye.